Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. This is the show we talk about sports with comedians. And boy, we got a lot to cover today. There was some breaking news that jumped off maybe 30 minutes before we got on the air. But before I jump into that, let me bring my man T in the building. What's up, T?
Everything good, brother. We got some breaking news, boy. I tell you, the news was flashing, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure was. Sure was.
Damn.
Flashy. My man Fig is also in the building. What's up, Fig?
Man, the news was breaking, the wind was breaking, everything was breaking.
Okay. All right, so let me just before I even jump into that, man. Let me just ask you, T. Everything good with you, T? You settled in from being from Nantucket? I mean, from the island and all that. You settled? Why we
Yeah. I think I'm pretty good. This is what I call like it's funny because you go from a whole week of being in the vineyard to what I call like the choppy week. So now I'm back to a choppy week where I'm home. I come home Monday, but I got to dip to St. Louis Tuesday. I'm home yesterday, but now I got to dip to South Jersey today. I'm home tomorrow, but then I got to dip back to Jersey. So it's that kind of week. But we ain't complaining because God let me recharge the batteries. The batteries are recharged, baby.
Butrick.
My man Mike Sean is also in the building. Mike, what's happening?
What's good? What up, fellas?
What up, Mike?
Today's Thursday,
so,
Friday.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're good.
Thursday.
How you gonna say I'm good? What's today?
What's today?
Yeah.
Today's Thursday. Is this Leo season, Virgo season? What season is this right now? But
Thank you all for watching the show. I appreciate all the ladies and gentlemen who are watching the show. Continue to watch the show and continue to follow the show. Thank you all for joining the show. We're going to jump right into it. I'm going to start with you, T, and then I'm going to ask all y'all's opinion. In case you all haven't heard, Deshaun Watson news just broke 30 minutes before we got on the air. He was officially suspended 11 games and fined $5 million following the NFL and the NFLPA settlement.
Count lost.
He did it. So with the settlement, it turns out that it is the largest fine in player history. So T, I'm gonna ask you, what's your thoughts on this settlement? Which Deshaun Watson just came out and said he was doing a press conference. He hasn't officially signed the settlement just yet. They expect him to sign it. It's 11 games. What's your thoughts on this, bro?
I still want to know. I don't know if anybody else is as nosy as me. I still want to know the payout on the chicks. I want to know what the going massage is going for these days.
Facts.
When you violate the masseuse like that. I think like me and Mike was just talking off air. I thought it was funny. Mike was like, "Oh, remember you said you take the under? You should have took the over." I cashed the check already.
He
So
already did. Like that.
Y'all could change it wherever y'all want. I done took my little 6-game money. I done went into Atlantic City. I bought some pina coladas. I think it's whack, but you just again when these big things happen, remember, Frank, the people set precedents for the future. So now look forward everybody and their mama to push the issue when somebody gets penalized and they don't like it or they want more to happen. Look for it to go back into a quick arbitration and more things are going to get turned around. That's how I see it, because this is going to be like a Roe versus Wade of football. Everything's going to be precedented and pushed against and compared to that incident. Remember watching NFL watching, and they went back and they did the right thing. So look for that to happen again in the future. I don't like it.
All right, but Fig, it's the largest player fine in NFL history, $5 million. What's your take on that? On just that fact alone, that he got a largest player's fine off of something that's not even a criminal charge.
Right.
Charge.
Tell you what it is, Frank. It's bogus, and I'm going to prove it right here, right now. The only reason they charged him $5 million is because he's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. That $230 million qualified the $5 million fine, because let me tell you something. That can't be the precedent, because NFL players, by and large, don't make that kind of money. All players do not make that kind of money where they can afford a $5 million. This is called the Deshaun Watson fine. It's exclusive to Deshaun Watson. The 11 games, okay, that's public opinion. The NFL felt like they had to do something to sort of quiet the noise from the feminist groups and the women's groups and stuff like that. So they had to give him more than 6. They added an additional 5, but the $5 million is the Deshaun Watson fine because he got a $230 million fully guaranteed contract. And that's the only reason that they gave him this. The good thing about it is the $5 million, if I heard correctly, $5 million is supposed to go to charity. So basically what that means, although it's a fine and it goes to charity, that means that he can write it off on his taxes. That is the only good thing about this particular fine. The 11 games, it is what it is.
Michael Sean, the Cleveland Brown ownership just came out in the NFL press conference just now and said that they also going to donate more money to a lot of causes and things like that pertaining to sexual misconduct and things like that. So when you hear all the stuff, $5 million fine, largest fine in history, Cleveland Brown ownership is even doing some things like that where they're going to donate even $1 million to more charities around the Cleveland area. What's your take on this?
Yeah, they said the fine's going to go to the Touch Museum. And
I knew it was coming.
I want to visit
That's
that.
a real place?
yeah, that's a real place in Philly.
Oh,
There's a
dude.
Touch
Oh.
Museum. There's a real place. All
I'm
right,
going to visit
listen.
the Touch Museum.
He knew what he was getting into in the whole situation. And Roger Goodell actually let the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to repeat this one more time, pay him $1 million for his first season. So Roger Goodell was thinking, you're going to get 1 year, but I'm not going to penalize Cleveland. But then when the judge gave the wrong answer, that's when he went to the second judge. And then all of a sudden, it was 11 games. So the first season for the Cleveland Browns is a wrap. It's over. He got pissed. Roger Goodell got mad and said, yo, no, we know what he was doing. Roger Goodell knows what he was doing. And now they're going to get 11 games, and he knows the first season is over with. And the Cleveland Browns may have spent $230 million on a quarterback because, God forbid, the backup quarterback winds up taking him to the playoffs. Then Cleveland has wasted $230 million on a quarterback who, I will say this one more time, is not worth $230 million. Deshaun Watson has never led the league in passing. Deshaun Watson has never gone to a Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson has never won an MVP. Deshaun Watson has never done anything other than what, like Aaron Rodgers, yes, he gets $230 million. I would have never paid Deshaun Watson $230 million to be my quarterback.
Question for anybody. He maintains his innocence. Does anybody feel like any indifference to that because he said he maintains his innocence? Anybody feel indifferent about that?
I don't think, first of all, I don't think that he maintains his innocence because everybody's painting the picture kind of like you're guilty. Whenever
he came out just now and said he maintains his innocence. I'm telling you.
He thinks he does because he didn't go in a court of law and be guilty. But my thing is, you don't have to be in a court of law and be marked guilty to maintain your innocence. As far as the country is concerned, O.J. Simpson's not innocent. And he beat his case. But the world's perception is we know O.J. did it. You got more of those than people go, well, maybe he didn't do it. You got more people who go, no, he did it. Because of the circumstances and everything in your window around it. So what I'm saying is between the league and the Cleveland Browns, that's enough innuendo to say, like, even we think you did it, nigga. Like, basically, for the Cleveland Browns to add icing on the cake, the NFL cooks a cake that says you can't play 11 games, $5 million, blah, blah, blah. We're going to give it to victim abuse and blah, blah, blah. Why are you giving money to victim abuse if you think this guy didn't abuse a victim? So, and on top of that, here come the cream. Pause. Here come the cream from Cleveland that say, we're going to give some more money to the victims too. What are you saying? You saying I did it.
Yeah.
You're pandering to the victim and not the suspect. When somebody's presumed all the way innocent and you maintain your innocence, they hold you up and come out of the courtroom. Yep. Yeah, we told y'all he didn't do it. Yeah, the Central Park 5.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need a documentary to tell a story how we was railroaded. We need compensation. We need that. Now people are walking around Central Park 5. It's a shame what they did to those boys.
Yep. Yep.
Now their innocence has been proved. This guy ain't maintaining no innocence because your team, your league, all of them shooting money at victims because they believe you left behind victims.
Perfect. What you want to say?
Talon is absolutely right, man. The problem is in America, if you say something enough, it's called programming. If you say something enough, it will get into the minds of the masses and it will become true.
Right.
Just like, look, we went to school, a bunch of us went to school, and we all were taught Christopher Columbus discovered America. How many people can you tell right now that was a lie? There's people to this day, even though it's been refuted, even though it's been proven that Christopher Columbus did not discover America, people to this day will tell you, yes, he did. Because that's the lie. If you perpetuate something long enough, often enough, it will become true. And just like Challen said, you talking about this kid that they said that he did it. He said, I didn't. He said, but we're going to punish you anyway. That's the American way, because it's the court of public opinion, and the news media and the cycle have said it for so long. This has been going on for 2 years. There's no way that he can prove that he did not actually do anything. It's impossible. And this is damage control by the NFL. That's why they had to give him a $5 million fine. That's why Cleveland had to add an additional $1 million to it, because it's already in public opinion that he's guilty. Now, maybe 20, 30 years down the line, something will come out like the Central Park 5, just like Talon said, that said, no, he really didn't do it. I just watched a story with a man who did over 30 years in prison. They said he raped a woman, and the DNA evidence came out. They finally got the DNA, and it said he didn't do it. They had to release him. He would have been in there for the rest of it. They gave him life plus 80 years, and he ended up doing 30 years in federal prison for rape, and it come to find out he didn't do anything.
Okay, all right. Dave, talk
Yes,
to
sir.
me, man. Dave, talk to me. Dave, the business bully has joined the show. Dave, tell me what your thoughts are about this, man. We were talking about this. You're going to get the last word, and I'm going to give Mike the first word on the next topic, because we've been talking about this a little bit too long. Go ahead, Dave.
He did it.
Who are we talking about now?
Deshaun, come on. You are.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to rub one past you.
He said, come on, man.
Bro,
Wait, hold on.
Pause for
Pause.
real.
Yo, Frank is
Pause.
stupid.
No, listen, man. Here's the thing. Deshaun, I just wish folks had the same energy for Ben Roethlisberger. But yeah, no, he did something. He did something. I guarantee you he got up. Listen, the problem when you have that type of money and you've never had it before is you get an overwhelming sense of entitlement. It's like any person born after 1995. They're absolutely useless. And they believe that everything that they want should be handed to them. We're a bunch of snowflake ass people. And so because everybody has been telling you, yes, look at Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber went into a Waffle House while a black woman was cleaning up and peed in a mop bucket. Right? Justin Bieber got his house raided for cocaine, and they arrested the black kid who wasn't even his house.
Facts.
This is what happens because entitlement and everybody telling you yes and everybody protecting you because you're a superstar or an athlete. This is what happened. So it's not just Deshaun Watson being absolutely creepy and reprehensible and thinking it is okay to pull out his wang in front of a massage therapist over and over and over and over and over again. It is also the system that tells them that they are somehow gods on the field and gods on earth. And so, yeah, now they got to shell out that money because they've created the environment for Deshaun Watson to exist. And until such time as we deal with that part of this conspiracy, all of it is a waste of time. Yes, he did it. Absolutely, he did it. But then you have to ask yourself, why did he think it was okay?
Yeah. I mean, that's another great point. Michael Sean, man, we're going to move this show on, man. LeBron James just signed an agreement. He officially signed his agreement at the very last second, a 2-year agreement, $97.1 million contract extension deal. Includes a 3-year player option, which will basically lead him up to be 41 if he signs on. Question for you is, do you think he's going to ride into the sunset as a Laker, or do you think he's going to get the last year as a Cleveland Brown? And what do you think about the deal?
The funny thing about LeBron is that he changes Michael Jordan, LeBron, Magic. My mom said said LeBron just signed a huge contract for 2 years, and I had a discussion with my mom on some. Well, he's gonna leave after 2 years. He's gonna try and make a run with Anthony Davis. Then he's going to Cleveland, and he's gonna get them. He's gonna hold them hostage and say, "Listen, draft LeBron," and it's kind of too much pressure. Like, it's the one time I don't agree with LeBron. I don't agree with the fact that you're putting this much pressure on your son to literally be that great a basketball player. Talent's son right now is going to be at Caroline's Comedy Club based on his own merit, based on what he did, based on who he made laugh. And that's something that I'm super proud of Talent, super proud of his son. But when you force feed your son to everybody and say he has to be the best basketball player, he has to do this, he has to do that, it's not fair, because there's a chance he's not as good as everybody else. Talent's son did this on his own.
Yep.
Like, did this on basically everybody at Caroline's was like, he's killing him. We're doing this based on we have to push Bronny in front of everybody. And I don't even know what that pressure feels like. So for the first time, I will say this on this show. I disagree with how LeBron has handled this. And dog, I'm a dad. We all dads and everything. And I disagree with that, because it's like, dog, when he gets opened up to the criticism of his game, just like Talent knows, comedians are haters. Comedians are nothing but haters. So he knows when his son goes up there, he has to be ready. Are you ready to do this? But Talent's son did this on his own. He didn't do this based on Talent's name. So I'm done.
Well,
Sorry.
well, Talent, let me ask you this, T. Do you agree with everything he just said, or do you have some pushback on this? Because the question really is right now, we're talking about LeBron James signing his extension contract and everything else to ride out in the sunset. Looks like as a Laker, he can possibly still be at 41, get a contract as a Cleveland Brown when he turns 42, if he plays that long. So a lot of people will disagree with the statement that Michael Sean just said about saying that LeBron is forcing teams, people to take a look at Bronny. I mean, there could be, like, I'm trying to walk down the middle of this line and look at both sides of it. I hear both sides of the argument. Where you come at on this argument specifically because you have a son following up behind you in your exact footsteps. Some people would literally say your son is doing it all on his own, and some people will literally say Bronny's doing it all on his own, and it's the greed of other people in the NBA because they want him, and Bronny ain't doing nothing. He's just sitting back watching, but they want him to come into the NBA because the money that could be generated if LeBron and Bronny's in the league at the same time, because it's never happened before. What's your take?
Right. I mean, but see, Mike hit the nail on the head when he brings in, for lack of a better word, when you're trying to have somebody organically be great, you can't tamper with that. And that's the word that we're using here. My son decides he wants to do comedy. You're gonna have to go through the motion like the rest of us did. You're gonna have to day in, day out, put the work in. I'm not just throwing you the bone. So what that would be equivalent to when people call me to put me on the show, I never go, hey, take my son. I don't do that. What I do is something that I'm putting together and promoting out of my pocket. I may grab my son, put some money in his pocket on a dad-son move. But out there in the real world, you got to go put the bones in. You got to dig your own bones up and put your work in and do what you got to do. Caroline's had to see that in you. I didn't call Caroline's go, you see my son? Y'all got to watch him and say he's ready for this and put him on that. The minute I do that extra and started using it as leverage to make people give my son work, I'm tampering. And the problem with tampering is if you make it that way, you'll never know how great you really are. If you make it organically, you know exactly where your greatness lies. But if I give you everything, it goes back to Dave. Now we're back at that entitlement boat.
Yeah, I agree with you saying with that. But Fig, here's the other news. Fig, here's the other news. Bronny James has now have interest from Ohio State. He may play in the G League and may play overseas professionally in Australia's NBL before entering the NBA draft. Now, with that being said, that gets LeBron to literally be playing in the league till he's 42 if he expects Bronny to play with him. You know what I mean? So LeBron James now has pushed out his career till he's 42 at least, which again has never happened. You know what I mean? You got LeBron James playing that long. You got Bronny coming in the league at the same time playing that long. So LeBron James signing that contract extension means what to you, Fig?
It just was a good move for right now. I mean, I think I think the reason that it took him so long is what he actually did was he looked at the landscape of the NBA and figured out who could pay him and what team that he could possibly go to, if not the Lakers, and make an actual run at the NBA championship. And when you take a look at the landscape, who has the money to even pay LeBron James anything significant enough that he can go on their team and actually make a difference? There's only a handful of teams that are real contenders for the NBA championship right now. You have maybe the Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, the Boston Celtics, maybe the Milwaukee Bucks, possibly the Nets if they stand pat. Who else can LeBron James really go to and who can trade for him and pay him to be able to do something like that? So his best bet was to stay with the Lakers and ride it out. Hopefully they get off of they can trade Russell Westbrook, maybe get a Kyrie Irving or somebody else to be able to help the Lakers out. And this thing about Bronny, man, it's a lot of pressure. But guess what? He won't be the first young man or woman to have that kind of pressure because, you know, parents, they put pressure on their children all the time to do things, to be maybe a doctor, to be maybe a lawyer or something like that, to go to this Ivy League college or whatever. Kids have pressure, different kind of pressure put on them all the time. This one here is in the public eye because LeBron James is such a great basketball player. Everybody is watching. So this is an extra magnifying glass, if you will, that's being put on Bronny James.
Yeah.
The business bully. Tell me something that we are not looking at, or is there some kind of perspective that we're overlooking in this whole scheme of things with LeBron James signing his new deal, 2-year deal, 3rd-year player option, pushes him out to 41, 42 before at the earliest that Bronny can join the league.
He made that $97.1 million deal so he can give his son some time to develop. For the criticisms that we talked about yesterday, that's the first thing. I'm going to disagree with my good friend Talent just a little bit. And it's this. LeBron James has a son named LeBron James. Talent has a son named Talent. So what's going to happen is there's automatically going to be some comparisons. It's just parenting. So here's the thing. That in and of itself, whether intentional or not, is pressure. Now, I have 2 children. One is 7, the other one is 23. My oldest is in the media business. But, you know, did my influence probably make her look at media, make her look at business? Most likely, yes. But I didn't get that New York Times job for her. I didn't get that job at Essence for her. She did all that on her own. But to act as if she did not have my example would be absolutely ludicrous. Is there pressure? Yes, but a lot of that is self-imposed. And yeah, we cannot help the fact that especially Negro comedians love to see some, oh, look at that. Not since the Mooney Twins has somebody been put up where as though it's like, okay, what's going on? And it's the same thing with Bronny James. There's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of talk. And it's not fair to Talent. It's not what Talent asked for. And it's not what Talent's son asked for. It's just what it is when you decide to step into this arena. It's the same thing with these pundits on ESPN and FS1. The bottom line is Talent is setting his son up for success by not getting in the way. The same way LeBron is saying, I'm going to take this $97 million and I'm going to chill for 2 years. That gives you enough time to develop and do what you need to do. And then when you show up, it's game time. And we're going to go down in history as the greatest father-son duo to ever do it.
Yeah. All right, Michael Sean, I want to keep this thing moving on. And since I made you first last time, and I don't want you to lose your turn, I'm gonna make you first this time. And with the
Okay.
next story, and this next story is gonna be Aqib Talib got caught on video starting a fight that ended with his brother allegedly shooting and killing a youth football coach that has,
Yeah.
that everybody was talking about in the news, and this is horrible. News came out last night that there are several people who really want Aqib Talib to also be charged because his brother was not charged for a little while. His brother was on the run for a little while. He ended up turning himself in yesterday morning. He's now facing these certain charges, second-degree murder. Right now, DA looks like they might do first-degree murder because of what happened. Do you think Aqib Talib should be also charged in this because he's the one who got caught in video walking over there and instigated the fight? His brother is the one who ended up killing the dude. But and we all know the law. We all know the law. Guilty by association. We all know how that goes. So with that being said, do you think Aqib Talib should be charged also, or what's your thoughts on this, Mike?
I wish he wasn't, but there are people like I'm probably the least intimidating person in these squares out of everybody. And I have some most dangerous.
No, figures. Go ahead.
Do you think figures?
Yes.
But I have dangerous people that have been around me, and I couldn't be around them because I knew that there was no limit. There was no limit. And they would ask me, oh, he said something to you? He said, and I was like, no. I would be like, I'd really be the B word on some of, no, he didn't say anything. So I would de-escalate everything and just leave. When you have these people in your life, it's such a hard line that you have to live because these people are willing to help you. They're willing to defend you. Like, I want to say everybody in this square has had somebody who was like, yo, I'm willing to do this, this, and that. And you had to say, no, don't.
Yes, sir.
Like, no, like I get what he said. Yeah, but he said this. He called you this. And you're like, no, I can't. He talked to your girl. He did that. He did whatever. And when you get caught up.
Mike, I hear what you're saying, Mike, but that's different. What we're talking about right now is a simple fact of I'm getting ready to get into, let's say me and you are together. I'm getting ready to get into a fight. I'm getting into the fight. There's no conversation even happening. I'm getting into the fight. You come in the fight with me, but you kill the dude. There's no even conversation.
This is why I stopped you from the beginning.
Yeah,
but why I stopped you because I got people who are willing to go all the way in, and I never make them phone calls. Everybody has somebody they can make a phone call to that is willing to go all the way in.
Right.
Like when you call them, they're like, okay.
Yeah. Ain't no I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah. But
you can't make that phone. You can't make that phone call. You have to get away. And when you initiate that, because somebody initiated that situation.
Right.
So at that point, now you're caught up.
Somebody did initiate it, Talent. It was his brother. It wasn't his friend. It's his brother. Like friends you can separate from. Family members you really can't because they're your family. That's number one. Number two, and probably maybe should be 1A and 1B. What fights are spontaneous. You know what I mean? Like they happen. Anger can level to one thing. Two grown men with testosterone popping and everything else, especially at a game, especially at a youth football game, pops off instantaneously. There's no planning involved. It just happens. It happens quickly.
At a youth football game, you really go ahead, Talent. My bad. Sorry.
At youth football game, basketball game, whatever. This stuff happens quickly, in my opinion. I'm not saying what Mike said is wrong. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is there are people right now who are saying that Aqib Talib should be charged with murder, and because of association, what his brother did. And I'm asking you, literally, do you think he should be charged with murder because it happened so fast? If you saw the video, it happened really fast. Like, you know,
you're talking about charging the brother though, not the
I'm talking about charging his brother's already charged.
Right, but you can't charge the person that didn't kill the person.
But again, let me just throw this before you say your answer. In the law of all across this country, if I'm with you and you commit a crime, you are going down with that. You know what I mean? If me and you go out together.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's not about, okay, let's back up, because there are instances where the way you just worded that, it applies. That applies to a gun in a car with three gentlemen and nobody want to claim the gun. That applies. But when you're outside and an altercation breaks out, somebody actually kills this person. Now, yeah, I was there. Probably was even in the melee fighting or whatever. I'm just going to, benefit of the doubt, get a little extra to play with. I'm in the fight. I'm in the crowd and we're swinging and all things. That doesn't mean everyone gets charged with murder. Now, everyone may have charges, but everyone may not get charged with murder, as we witnessed from George Floyd. And these were police officers. Everybody got charged differently. The guy who had the knee on the neck, who actually drove the air and wind out of this guy and life out of this body, totally different charge and outcome and consequences than the Asian looking dude who looked stupid. He didn't do nothing, but these guys all got charged in the incident, but they're not all going down with the same circumstances and end result of the type of charges that happen. So let me say, in this situation, if the brother clearly killed the person died at the brother's, what he did to him, pulled out the gun, shot him, whatever. If I didn't touch the gun and I didn't have a gun and that's my brother, do I believe I should be charged with murder? No. Now, Frank, if you change it around and I'm holding this guy up and letting you stab him or shoot him, then absolutely.
Okay. So, Frank, can I just ask this one question? Talent, if I call you and I say, Talent, help me. Right. Can you take care of the situation? And it goes left. And you want to killing a person. Yeah, shouldn't I be accountable for calling you and saying
that's
obvious? Yes, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Mike. To that, absolutely, you're accountable. But again, going back to what I originally said, it's not the same charge. For you to give me a murder charge in that instance, they would have to have a text or a phone call that I said, "Come kill this dude."
All right, check this out. Here's the question for Fig. Check this out. Same thing happened, right, Fig? Same thing happened in the Allen Iverson situation, where the big fight happened, the big brawl, the alleyway happened. Allen Iverson was there. He got charged. He literally did a year and some change in jail. He would have did more than that. If that person and everything else had died, he would have got charged with murder.
But he's in the brawl, Frank, is a difference.
No,
see, here's the thing.
He was not. He was there.
He was in that brawl. He'll tell you himself. Allen Iverson's crew was in the whole thing. Now, they were granted during the fight, because he is who he is. We all got people, like Mike said, in the hood that try to shelter you because you're the guy that's doing whatever. You're the rapper. We're protecting you. You're the ball player. We're protecting you. But if you're in the melee, it's different than, like Mike just said, the call was made because we all got those people. I'm having a problem. Come down here, whatever the case may be. That call can only go so far depending on the wording of that call. Yeah, things go left every day.
All right, but Fig, but let me give Fig his turn.
Let me clear this up. At the end of the day, what it really depends on is the prosecutor, and and who they want to charge. And where you actually are. Because if you're in a place what they call Commonwealth,
that's different. That's
your
different.
ASS is grass. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Because they word it like this: had it not been for the actions of this guy, wouldn't have lost his life. You don't actually have to do it. There's been plenty of famous people that went to jail because the crew that they was with did something. I mean, case in point, Tupac. With the whole rape charge. He wasn't even in the room, but the young lady went to see him, and his crew was there. He said he was in another room when it went down. He said, I ain't know nothing about it. He's the one who caught the charge. So it depends on the prosecutor. And let me tell you this, if there's any money to be gained, if there's any lawsuit, they're going against the deepest pockets. I go into a Walmart. Mr. Walmart is not in his store. I slip and fall. Them employees are not taking the charge. The person who made the floor wet, didn't mop it up. They're not the ones who are responsible for it. I'm going for the person who owns it. Akeem Talib is the name. And that's the only reason we're talking about this case. Because he is the name attached to this case. Although he didn't actually do nothing, he can be charged as an accomplice. He may not be charged with murder, maybe manslaughter.
Right. That's my point.
But he is going to be charged with something in accordance with this person's death.
The people want him, Dave. The people want him to be charged with being accomplice to murder, which would lead to 15 to 20 years. Meanwhile, his brother will go to jail for life if it's first degree. Well, if even second degree murder, it's hard to stick. Aqib Talib could be looking at easy 15 to 20 as being an accomplice. Now, my whole point I was trying to make, and obviously I'm not trying to put words in anybody's mouth, Dave, but all I'm saying is Allen Iverson was at the venue. He was sitting down on video, did not throw a punch, and went to jail for some time. Didn't throw a punch. You know what I mean? And didn't even instigate it. The whole big thing. Something similar happened at another sports function, except this time Aqib Talib started it. He got caught on camera starting it. He got caught on camera going up to the youth football coach's face, jumped in his face, but his brother finished it and killed the dude. Wow. Should Aqib Talib go to jail for 15 to 20 because his brother killed the guy is the question. What you think?
I have to ask a question because I've only seen clips. I haven't seen the whole thing. Did Aqib Talib throw a punch?
Did not. He did not.
Now, again, I gotta agree here. The situation is it depends on who wants to make an example of whom, and we live in a corporation that we call the United States, and that corporation is run on slave labor. That's why the 13th Amendment has that clause in it that says if you commit a crime, you can go. And the one thing that they don't that they love in this country is to take somebody who is high profile on whatever level and make an example of him. Because if they can get him, they can get anybody else. It's why Wesley Snipes and Ron Isley went to jail, and other people who've been evading taxes for years have absolutely no problem. Excuse me, I'm allergic. So I think it's probably going to happen because we're talking about it, and that's what they want. And then you also have to understand that there are people's political futures at stake. There are people who go out and make their bones off of one high-profile case and then become the thing. They either become vice president, senator, governor, or a pundit on Fox News, or they go on the private circuit and just spend the rest of their life making millions of dollars speaking and selling books. Either way, there's a bigger agenda than, this particular former athlete. So, yeah, I think he's probably going to do some time if the prosecutor is overzealous.
Yeah.
Well, let me say this one last thing towards the prosecutor and what Fig said. Understand something. And Tupac is a bad example, analogy in this case, only because a prosecutor can only do what their evidence pushes them to do. They can say whatever they want, but if they don't have the evidence, the problem with the Tupac thing is the evidence is the girl, the witness herself, the victim. And if she points the finger and say Tupac, you know what I mean? That's where that case is going and coming from. You got to realize even though he wasn't in the room when the said rape happened, he's the dude that got her up there. He was boning her. So it looked like to her a gangbang situation. So when she pointed and said it's Tupac, I was up here with Tupac and blah, 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 that brings him in. Not the prosecutor just going, we like your necklace, we're going to charge you. No, the girl is the top piece of evidence you could have nowadays is video, obviously, and an eyewitness. If the victim is the eyewitness, bro, it don't get no more dead to rights than that. That's all I want to say.
I guess we'll keep it moving on everything else. I guess my point I was trying to make to this whole thing, I want to see where you guys stood on was guilt by association. That's all I was trying to.
Do you think, Frank, let me ask you, do you think he should be charged?
Listen, I don't even believe in guilt by association because if you and I go out, you know what I mean, and you decide, we go to a store and you decide to rob the store, I'll be pissed off at you, but the police will come in and arrest us both because I'm with you. You know what I mean? So I don't believe in that because I don't believe that you can control the thoughts and the actions of a person who you are with. I don't think you can do that. You know what I mean? And I'm not a believer of that. Now, if both of us went out to go to the store and we both agreed to rob the store, then yeah. But if I'm with you and you decide that you want to rob the store, you want to hurt somebody, and then I got to go to jail with you, and I'm like, what? I don't believe in that. But the court system is built on that. You know what I mean?
I will say this in box seats. It's the first time I fully listened to everybody's comments. Because real talk. Because normally we thinking of jokes and we thinking of stuff that we're gonna say.
Right.
But every single person made comments that I was like, oh. Yeah,
It
you're
really
right. Like every single person made a comment that I was like, yeah.
It
Because
really
make
Frank,
depends
sense.
on
this is very deep, Frank. And your point is, I can't even argue with that. Like, but in the eyes of the Lord, see, that's the problem. The law, a lot of the law, they take what we call humanity or emotion out of it, and they look at everything in
Yeah.
numbers and boxes and squares. And in the eyes of the Lord, that's where you get accomplice. That's where you get conspiracy. You conspired. You had a meeting before this thing happened. Y'all did sit down and talk about it, and he just acted out on it. So you conspired. You know what I mean? So it's like that up and down, whether it's financial, white collar, blue collar. And it's very interesting that you said that guilty by association. You don't believe in that, and you got
And
a
your
point.
mom and our moms, anybody whose mom's not alive, God bless their soul. My mom always told me, who you hang out with is gonna dictate your
Yeah.
situation.
birds of a
facts.
feather flock together. But
And-
again,
All day.
last word on this is it depends on where you are. If you're in a state that is considered Commonwealth, their laws are stricter than any other place in the United States of America. Does anybody in here know what steering is?
No.
In what sense?
If somebody says, "Hey man, do you know where I can get such and such?" and I be like, "Oh yeah, I think that dude over there." Do you know in a Commonwealth they can press charges on you just for saying that you know somebody who has something that you ain't supposed to have?
Well, I'm a criminal justice major, so I was debating it. I would debate this all the time when I was in school, and I used to hate it and everything else because at the end of the day, the people who were not the right color, and I don't like to lead the color conversations. I don't like that anyway. But the whole system is built on. We all know as a fact for more minorities to be in prison because there's more money in that. You know what I mean? So I think some of the laws are built on that, with that predicated to be able to put more people in prison. So that's that. Let's move on.
Is that the reason why the first time you're gonna hang out with all of us is at Caroline's? Is that why? No, I'm playing.
No, because we birds of a feather. Frank ain't there to tell no jokes. He just like, listen. I got this question, and I just want to ask you this. Now, Talon, I'm gonna start with you. And he's gonna do like 37 times to the audience cast on the whole audience gonna be like, Talon, I'm gonna start with you.
No, actually, when we live, I'm gonna mix it all up because I can. You know what I mean? I have to.
I'm smacking the shit out of somebody as soon as we get in there.
Like, hey, Talon, what's up?
I'd be like, Frank, you down? It was me, Frank, Mike.
Well, I'm letting you know now, Talon. I'm the dry stitcher. I'm the dry stitcher of the group. I'll be like, it was
all there. They saw it. No, I didn't. I ain't see nothing.
I can't see nothing.
Glasses on.
I'm a blind comedian.
Everything. I'm the dude. I saw everything. Hey, y'all come out the bushes.
Oh my God.
All right, so let's move on. I want to get to the NFL in a second, but I want to ask you all a couple of NBA questions because we talked about the NFL at the top of this, man, with Deshaun Watson. So I want to. Yesterday I started off with a couple of questions, man, and I kind of liked the way it went. So I'm gonna start off with you guys, and I wonder who I'm gonna go with first.
Man, you changed the picture.
Real quick.
I did that on purpose.
Okay.
All right,
I believe
Talent. Giannis and his height, or LeBron James and his height?
I'm taking my headphones off.
Oh, Giannis.
Jesus.
Giannis, hands down?
Yeah.
You see,
For me, it is.
This is why I don't.
See, here we go. Look, see, here we go. I can't even get my answer.
I know. This is why I do.
I'm just leave it right there. Look. No, I just did that for Mike. I would go with LeBron because I'm a big fan of. One thing I will give him, I got to give him credit of over the years is I do believe LeBron has what Magic had. Like Magic's my favorite player, and he resembles Magic in the essence of being able to make others better.
Okay, all right, Fig.
Before you go to Fig, Talent, thank you. Just
Fig.
thank you.
And his height, and the height of their career that you've seen so far.
It goes Fig.
Bam Adebayo or DeAndre Ayton. And the height that you've seen them so far.
Bam Adebayo or who?
DeAndre Ayton.
DeAndre Ayton. I don't think we've seen the best of DeAndre Ayton yet.
No, I'm not saying that's not what I'm asking you.
Right now, up to
this point,
you've seen so far. with Bam Adebayo and DeAndre Ayton, who you take?
You know, right now, because Bam Adebayo has done so much, and DeAndre Ayton has I don't believe the young man has had an opportunity. I would have to go with Bam Adebayo. But I tell you one thing: switch those teams, put DeAndre Ayton in Miami. I think they use him a lot more, and I think you'll see a real impact of what that young man can do.
Okay, all right. Michael, Sean.
Okay, real quick, Frank. Because I think that was a good question, but they're both 12. Like they.
I know this. Let me do.
But it was a good question. But I was like, I see how difficult that could be.
Let me do what I do. That's why
I'm sorry, Frank. I'm just saying I'm intertwined.
Let me throw this question out to you too. I want to see if I get your panties in a bunch with this one. All right, you ready?
First of all, stop with the panties.
See, I told y'all.
That's
confirmation
reference.
All right, Devin Booker or Trae Young? In the height of what you've seen so far.
The obvious answer is Devin Booker.
But
I thought the obvious answer was Steph Curry was never going to be the best player in the NBA. I never thought Steph Curry would be able to do what he did this last offseason. I always thought he won those championships because Kevin Durant was the best player. But last season, I saw him average 30-something points and carry an entire team on his shoulders. So I'm going to say Devin Booker because Devin Booker is the closest thing that I've seen, and not close, I shouldn't say, kind of close to somebody like Kobe Bryant. So I'll say Devin Booker, but I would not be surprised if Trae Young wind up doing what Steph Curry is doing because the league is already there, but the league is going to go to swing players who can shoot and can go to the free throw line. So I'll say Devin Booker, I'm sorry.
Okay. And Dave, you get the last question. Actually, I'm gonna ask everybody one other final question too. Dave, you get this one. Chris Paul and his height, or Kyrie Irving?
Oh, damn. You would jab me with that question, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Chris Paul.
Have fun with that.
Chris Paul or Kyrie Irving?
Now. Not Chris Paul now. Chris Paul at his height.
At his height.
Damn. Or Kyrie Irving.
They said 5'9".
I hate you so much.
I think we should all be able to comment on this after this. I think we should.
My God.
I got another one. Let me do.
Okay. All right. Listen, I think that controversy notwithstanding, pre-COVID, not even then, Chris Paul for me. Just straight up and down, Chris Paul for me. And I'm not saying that Kyrie Irving will not surpass him. I'm just saying at this particular, given, because I don't know what happened.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I got to give it to Chris Paul. Sorry.
All right, talent.
By a head.
Ask all this question. All y'all. So sit back and think about your answer.
That's why he fell out his chair. Listen, real quick, we have to discuss. All right, never mind. Go ahead.
No, it's okay, Mike. It's okay.
Forget about talent.
I know.
On talent alone, notwithstanding championships, on talent alone, and on player ability. I hope you all hearing me. On talent alone and player ability. Forget about championships. Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan?
Oh.
Right. I'm gonna go with Michael Jordan.
Okay, you got Michael Jordan. Can you give me real fast?
I don't want y'all to think I want y'all to think I took a second to think. I was some on my foot. It gave a pause effect. I was like, wait a minute, that came off wrong. I wasn't thinking. I was doing something down here at the feet. That's a no-brainer. You go with the blueprint over the replica.
Okay. Ooh. All right. I like that answer. The same exact question with you. NBA championships aside, teams aside, players' accomplishments aside, player ability. Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan?
I go with MJ, and I'm going to tell you. I'll give you another reason. I don't think that we got an opportunity to see the best of MJ because of the era that he came up in. In that era, you know, players stayed in college at least 3 to 4 years. And I believe that MJ could have came, had he come out early, I think we would have seen a lot more. I think we would have seen a younger athletic MJ at 18, 19 years old, because what he was doing in North Carolina was absolutely amazing. People didn't really know how good he was until he got to the NBA. So I gotta go with MJ.
Okay, Michael Sean. Player ability alone. Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant. And I don't understand why Kobe Bryant isn't put in the same conversation. Y'all know I rep LeBron like his bitch. Sorry about the edit. But Kobe Bryant literally took the chance and changed his whole squad and actually got another team and won more championships. Mike never won a championship without Scottie, ever. He never had to defend the best swing player, ever. When Kevin Johnson was killing him against the Phoenix Suns, you know what Scottie had to do? Go guard Kevin Johnson. When they played the Lakers, you know where they cover Magic? Scottie. Go get him, Scottie. It's the disrespect that, and I'm a huge LeBron fan. Kobe Bryant was the only person that was not scared of Michael Jordan. And he would have done him dirty in that All-Star game in Madison Square Garden until he got taken out by George Karl and was like, you just sit down because you're jumping for the free throw line, you're dunking on him. Like Kobe Bryant's ignorance was larger than Michael's ignorance, but we're never going to ever see that because it's the narrative that is portrayed. Kobe was more ignorant than Michael. Kobe was like, trade Shaq. Michael never said trade Scottie. Michael never said, you pick between me and Scottie.
All right. Okay.
Like, what was your point? What's your point? What's the answer?
My point is that his Kobe Bryant's athletic ability was greater than Michael's, and his arrogance was greater than Michael's, because when Michael Jordan left the Chicago Bulls, they still won 50 games. And they still got robbed at the Garden. Scottie Pippen was on his way to have an MVP season when Jordan left.
So basically, when MJ left the Bulls, Scottie Pippen had blue balls.
Hold on, let's let David get his answer in. Dave.
Face.
Question for you is on player ability alone. Forget about championships. On player ability alone, you got Kobe Bryant and you got Michael Jordan. Who you taking?
Okay, so I have two very important points to make on this, Frank. The first is Kobe Bryant, and here's why. We can, and again, I don't want to push back on my good friend Talent, but I have to say this. Kobe might be a replica of Jordan, but Jordan is a replica of Dr. J. Dr. J is a replica of Wilt Chamberlain. But the amount of improvement that Kobe made on that blueprint puts him in a whole different level. And I'm sorry, when I was a kid, I used to watch Star Trek, and Scotty was giving it all he could. When I used to listen to my mama play her Whispers records, Scotty was giving it all that he could. And the same thing goes with what Michael Sean was saying. Scotty made Jordan phenomenal. So did Dennis Rodman, leading the league in rebounds. Kobe was phenomenal from beginning to end. Point blank and period. Jordan had some periods. 45, yeah. Wizards, yeah. No. Kobe consistently across the board, great, no matter where you put it.
I guess
Can I just say this? David Stern canceled that trade with Chris Paul to the Lakers because David Stern was so concerned about Michael Jordan not being the best player in the league. If Chris Paul had gone to the Lakers with Kobe Bryant, they'd have 7 or 8 championships.
Facts.
Maybe more. Maybe more.
Oh. So what are we doing now? We doing the coulda, woulda, shouldas?
No, we're doing the white man. This guy.
No, we doing the coulda, woulda,
shouldas. Your son got booked at Carolina.
No. Let me push back. Let me push back on Mike's bull-ass theory of changing teams. The same team that got the first 3 chips is not the same team that got the last 3 chips. What the hell are you talking
Who
about?
was the one consistent?
There's only one dude
Who was
there.
the one consistent?
That's one guy out of 5 to take the floor.
Michael Jordan said it himself. Without Scotty, I would not be here.
That's not the argument. No one here will argue you that. What you said in a blank statement was like he didn't change his team and he won it all with the same thing. That's not true. He had one Robin to his Batman. He had the same Robin to his Batman, but he rotated those players. Ron Harper don't have 6. Dennis Rodman don't have 6 with him. All those names y'all name, the bully, don't have 6. 2 guys got 6.
Why are you mad? Why are you mad?
Because you're not making factual points.
I'm giving you factual sense that.
No, when you said he didn't change the team,
so
that's not a fact, Mike.
Let me ask you this one thing, Talent.
No,
let me ask you this one thing. No, hold on. Let me ask you one thing. Does he win a championship without Scotty?
Does Kobe win without a fucking Shaq in the blueprint in the beginning? No.
He did.
No, after he already gave him the blueprint.
Okay, so he did.
That's what I'm talking about. If you take away the blueprint, Mike, you coulda, woulda, shoulda. We don't know what would have happened.
Michael
yes,
Jordan
and he
said it himself.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Are we saying that Scotty is better than MJ? Is that where we going with this?
Because Scotty didn't get a chip.
Hold up, because that's what I want to know. Because when MJ was playing baseball, Scotty didn't get a chip. That was 2 years.
No, he got
hold on. Let me finish. When MJ retired, Scotty didn't get a championship.
And he was on a dream team.
How are we talking about Scotty? And every time MJ was gone, Scotty didn't get anything.
They won 50 games. When
Scotty couldn't win. Hold on. Big, hang on your point, Big. Scotty didn't win a chip on a dream team in Portland that was better than any of the 6 Chicago teams. You know what was missing? The goddamn God, Michael Jordan. He had 12 all-star, damn near dream team out there.
And last but not least,
who did he lose to?
Last but not least,
don't matter. He couldn't get it done, man.
Last but not least,
Kobe and Shaq.
Last but not least,
he couldn't get it done.
Last but not least, MJ raised Scotty. Scotty was scared to play when they had to go up against the Pistons, the bad boys. MJ had to bring Scotty along. Scotty wasn't Scotty when he first got to Bull. He got act like Scotty got on Chicago and then they started winning.
No. Let me just finish this one thing. Game 7, Scottie Pippen had a migraine and couldn't play. All Jordan had to do was win 1 game without him. And he couldn't. He didn't win 1 game.
How about the game when Scotty had back spasms and they had to play Utah and Scotty was out there as a decoy and Michael won the damn championship by himself?
Big. Okay, that's enough. We good. We good. We gotta get ready to roll up out of here. We
don't remember that.
We can.
All right, listen. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, the 23rd. Do not miss Caroline's. Because box seats is going to be box seats plus. I'm smacking somebody coming in the door. I'm getting Frank arrested. I'm wearing all Jordan gear, Ewing sneakers. It's going to be crazy. It's going down the 23rd. This month is coming up. We're days away. People want to see y'all all in the building.
We are days away.
I like that, T. I appreciate that, T. I appreciate that. Dave, follow that up. If you can follow that up,
hey,
Dave.
Frank, you started this whole thing. You're an instigator. That's what you are.
And then he shot back Mike and let us fight. He went.
Yo, Frank, if you go to jail, you going too.
You going too.
If you notice,
everybody the gun. You handed everybody. You were like, just go.
Yeah, here's a magazine for you. Here's a magazine for you. Here's
Dave, everybody out there, how they can follow you, Dave.
Yeah, I just want to point out 2 things. First of all, if you notice, while we was fussing, Frank's screen got darker. And secondly, I want to observe and acknowledge the fact that Michael Sean actually listened for the first time in my 28-year friendship with him. It was amazing. Don't expect that at Caroline's on the 23rd. Okay, no one's listening to anybody. I apologize in advance. Also, if you are sensitive, this ain't the show for you to come to because I don't know about nobody else, but I'm coming to hurt somebody's feelings. Somebody's going to be offended. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Caroline's August 23rd. Get your tickets. Please order your chicken wings fried hard because I will just be picking random chicken wings from people's tables while I do my set. Thank you so much. I'm waiting for it.
All right, Fig, please.
Yo, you can follow me at Comedian Fig on all social media platforms. And the 23rd, Tuesday, we at Caroline's, baby. Chicken wings fried hard for Dave.
And Michael Sean, you get the last word.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are all brothers who argue like we're at the barbershop every time we're not at the barbershop. So what you have to understand is that when you come August 23rd, not only will we do the podcast and Frank will be the host, we will also do a comedy show that's going to make you laugh, but real for real. And Rodney Perry, Daniel Dugard, who actually joins the show also. There's a lot of people that make this happen, and the love is real. The more we argue, the more the love is actually real, the more we argue.
And I love it. Listen, I'm going to end the show with this. I love it when you guys argue some great points, everything else. So, because sometimes I do be feeding y'all. I'll be like, let me just keep it.
I already know. Talent about to text me right now. Now you're going to text me something.
Talent texted right. Y'all know this some BS he just did, right?
Yeah. Yo, I got to get ready to go because now look at that. I got 3 minutes I got to edit out. So I don't want to be edited out more than this. And I hope my button don't stick, damn it. It better not stick.